Have you ever found yourself wondering, why am I still doing this at my age? It's a question many people quietly ask themselves as they grow older, especially once they pass 70. Life has a way of keeping us in motion, repeating old habits and expectations that may have served us in our younger years but no longer bring the same comfort, joy, or purpose. Many seniors keep themselves busy, pushing through routines and responsibilities, feeling like they still need to prove something to family, to society, or maybe even to themselves. But the truth is, there comes a moment when it becomes not only okay but necessary to pause and reconsider, to step back from old obligations and give yourself permission to live more lightly, more peacefully. You've lived through enough seasons, carried enough burdens, and learned enough lessons to deserve a gentler pace. In this stage of life, peace should matter more than pressure, and living authentically should matter more than appearances. It's not about giving up, it's about growing up into the most honest version of yourself. Today, let's explore a few things that many people over 70 no longer need to carry. These are quiet shifts, simple, meaningful changes that can help you reclaim your time, your spirit, and your freedom. One of the most draining habits older adults often carry is the need to constantly please everyone. It sneaks in through the smallest of things, saying yes to social events when you really need rest, agreeing to help with tasks when your body is asking for stillness, staying silent to avoid confrontation, or putting everyone's needs before your own. Over time, this people-pleasing becomes a habit so ingrained, you might not even recognize how much it's stealing from you. For many of us raised in a generation that prized humility, sacrifice, and quiet resilience, saying no can feel wrong, even selfish. But here's the thing. You have earned the right to set boundaries, to speak up for what you need, and to live a life that reflects your values, not just other people's expectations. The people who truly love you will understand when you say no, and those who don't, well, maybe it's time to reconsider the space they take in your life. I once knew a woman who spent her whole life holding her family together. Then one day, in her 70s, she realized she was utterly exhausted, and no one had even asked how she was doing. That day, she stopped. She began saying no when she meant no, and surprisingly, her relationships either deepened or drifted away, and either way, she felt freer, lighter. There's something sacred about claiming your own time and space, especially in a world that never stops asking more from you. Another exhausting pursuit that many older adults feel pressured to maintain is trying to appear younger than they are. Society sends constant signals through commercials, magazines, and social media that aging is something to be resisted. Wrinkles, gray hair, slower steps, they're treated like problems to be fixed, instead of natural, beautiful signs of a life fully lived. But let's be honest, trying to maintain the illusion of youth takes time, money, energy, and a great deal of emotional strain. And at the end of the day, what does it really give you? Most people are not drawn to you because of smooth skin or dyed hair. They're drawn to your spirit, your kindness, your wisdom, your sense of humor, and the peace that comes with having weathered life's storms. Embracing your age isn't about giving up. It's about stepping into your full self unapologetically and without shame. One gentleman I knew said the day he stopped dyeing his hair was the day he finally felt seen, not for who he was pretending to be, but for who he truly was. And isn't that what we all want? To be loved for who we really are? Not for how well we hide the years we've lived. Far too many people spend their later years pretending they're okay even when they're not. There's this silent belief that you need to stay cheerful, grateful, and composed no matter what's going on inside. Whether it's loneliness, grief, health struggles, or emotional fatigue, the pressure to keep it together leads many seniors to suffer in silence. But that's not strength. That's isolation. Real strength comes from honesty, from saying, I'm not okay right now, and letting others see your humanity. You are not a burden just because you're going through something difficult. In fact, when you share your struggles, you open the door for deeper connection. I knew a woman who kept everything bottled up after her husband passed. She smiled and told everyone she was fine, but behind closed doors, she felt empty. Eventually, she started opening up to her daughter and attending a support group. What followed was healing, slow but real. Her relationships grew deeper, and she no longer felt like she was living two separate lives. You deserve that kind of healing too. Vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's a doorway to belonging. Another quiet habit that sneaks in during later life is apologizing for living differently. You might find yourself saying things like, "Sorry, I can't stay out late," or "Sorry, I don't really do crowds anymore," or "Sorry, I'm just not into all that technology." But why the apology? You've earned the right to set your own rhythms, to choose peace over noise, to prefer simplicity over stimulation. And yet, we often apologize for choosing what's right for us as if honoring our own needs is an inconvenience to others. But it's not. In fact, the more we honor our own truth, the more others learn to do the same. You're not being selfish. When you say no, you're being wise. You're living in tune with your season of life, not someone else's agenda. A friend of mine once told her dad, "You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live." He took that to heart, and for the first time in years, he stopped attending social gatherings that drained him. He stayed home, read books, took walks, and said it was the happiest he'd felt in a long time. Let that be your reminder too. There's no need to shrink yourself or apologize for being in a different place than others. Your life, your pace, your peace, it's all valid. One of the last and most lingering burdens is the constant need for approval. Even in our 70s and beyond, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to please, whether it's family, friends, or society at large. You may dress a certain way, speak a certain way, or hide parts of yourself just to avoid judgment. But here's a truth that hits hard and liberates even harder. No matter what you do, you will never please everyone. And that's not your job anymore. Maybe it never was. The older you get, the more you realize that approval is fleeting, but peace is priceless. Live for what makes your heart steady, not for the applause of people who don't walk your path. You don't need anyone's permission to live fully and freely. You've earned that permission with every year, every scar, every beautiful, difficult moment you've survived. So instead of chasing acceptance, start practicing self-acceptance. Let go of the performance. Be bold. Be soft. Be exactly who you are. There's something profound that happens with age. The noise starts to fade, and what's left is clarity. You begin to understand what really matters: connection, rest, joy, purpose, honesty. You stop measuring your worth by how much you do or how much you give. You start measuring it by how deeply you feel, how gently you live, and how freely you love. The 5 habits we've talked about today are just starting points, ways to peel back the layers of expectation and finally live as yourself. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you weren't trying to look perfect, please everyone, or explain yourself all the time. Imagine the peace of simply being. Aging well doesn't mean clinging to youth. It means growing into the most honest, whole version of yourself. It means making space for slowness, for simplicity, for real conversations and quiet mornings. It means being present, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. It means looking in the mirror and seeing not what's missing, but what's been gained: wisdom, depth, softness, and the courage to finally be who you are without apology. If any part of this reflection resonates with you, let it be a gentle encouragement. It's not just okay to stop doing what no longer serves you, it's necessary. Because your life is not defined by what you achieve or how much others approve. It's defined by the peace you carry and the truth you live. You've done enough. You've earned your rest. You deserve to live in alignment with what feels right to you. So as you move forward, take a breath. Choose slower walks. Choose smaller circles. Choose your own rhythm. And let go of anything that doesn't honor the person you've become. Because this stage of life isn't the end. It's the most honest, freeing chapter yet.